How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, the final chapter of 2021, chapter 98, Enchant. The cover for this chapter is a basically send off into 2022. It literally says 2022 on the top of it. And you got Happy on a giant tiger, and it's like a New Year's celebration with like Natsu in the background. Just to be real, the tiger kind of looks creepy. Not in love with it, but the rest of it I think is kind of cute. So we pick up our chapter with Laxus versus Kieran. He was on the ground in the last chapter, like wondering what the heck just happened, and he's still on the ground and he's getting smacked. That guy is flailing around that coffin like it is flipping nothing, which I don't know if this is like just Laxus going really fast or if this is just like the effect that this coffin's having, because it's got like multiple echo versions of Laxus behind him. He gets hit by this coffin and basically just gets sent flying back, and Kieran starts talking about this coffin and being like, oh yeah, I said I was gonna put you in it, but there's someone technically already in here. And he just says that there is a soul of someone already in the coffin, and that soul being the soul of a king. I've seen a lot of people debating on whose soul is actually in this thing, like Acnologia. I don't know if I want to go on the Acnologia train, but it could be very interesting whose soul is in this thing. I don't feel like it's going to be that big of a reveal, but who knows. So we go away from Laxus and we pick up back with Wendy. She's in her fight against Haku. They immediately start this chapter by pointing out that Irene came from Wendy's body, and Lily's like, what the heck is going on here? And very cool that you get Lily going to be fighting with Wendy, and they're like, oh man, this kid's way stronger than he looks. Lily just immediately starts charging him, and it surprises the heck out of freaking Haku, and he's just like, whoa, a freaking kitty can fight? Whoa! My boy Lily gets kind of sidelined real quick here, and he gets like wrapped around with string. To be honest, I kind of thought it was vines at first, but meanwhile, while Wendy is distracted with Lily getting tangled, she's getting rushed by Haku, and he's going blazing fast, and he immediately goes for that uppercut, but Wendy counters it in a very cool way. Very much like how she counters it. It's a very cool shot with the two. The force of that punch from Haku was greater than Wendy's, because he sends her flying up with the uppercut and gets a little creepy with it by him being like, I touched Wendy. Yes. Kind of cool that she is slowing herself down with like wind, and just kind of shocked that his punch had that much power behind it. She immediately follows it up with a Sky Dragon's wing attack. Haku just whips his way out of it. Haku just starts to make a variety of dolls that he sends at Wendy, which completely push her to the ground and starts tickling her and crawling over her, which surprisingly enough, these little plushies got a decent bit of strength behind them, because Wendy even points out like they have such a strength to like hold her down, and Haku just is completely focused on this must mean I won, so now you're my girlfriend. Getting creepier and creepier as we go along, but as Wendy is about to get completely covered by plushies, one of the plushies decides to uppercut another plushie and jump out of the mix. Starts destroying literally every other plushie, and this plushie eventually turns out to be Irene. She enchanted herself into another plushie and gave it her powers and attributes, which she goes on to explain how she's a high enchanter and how she can imbue objects with her own power and like her own personality. And yeah, she literally turns all of plushies against Haku, and they're now her plushies, and gets them all to attack him. Meanwhile, Wendy is putting a like wall of wind around Haku, and while he's getting completely crushed by plushies, and I'm pretty sure she goes into Dragon Force here, because she's got her little like wings around her and her hair's sparkling, and she does the Dragon Slayer's secret art Shattering Light Sky Drill, and that being enough to defeat Haku. Quite like Lily here, because he's like, yeah, you did it, Wendy. You beat an opponent on your own. Wendy does not want to take any credit for it. She's like, no, I didn't beat him. You know, with help from Irene, I did it. I guess Irene really wasn't doing much anything, because she's like, didn't you notice I barely did anything? And we won entirely through your magic power, Wendy. It was through her magic power that she pulled off that multi-body enchantment. Irene says, in other words, that she is a high-level enchanter wizard now. Kind of cool to see Wendy getting kind of an upgrade. I wonder if this is because she did that like adult form in the previous arc, and that kind of unlocked like latent powers in her. So her enchantments were already really good. So I wonder like what the high level enchanter stuff like will unlock for supportive abilities for the team. And that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts on this chapter: the Laxus fight, we didn't entirely get too much besides obviously the soul in the coffin thing, and people debating whose soul is actually in the box. I don't feel like it's going to be that huge of a reveal, but if it is, who knows, man. I don't particularly want it to be someone that's already been like a big part. Like if it's Acnologia, like what are we gonna do with that? I do like Wendy's fight, and I do like how she kind of gets an upgrade at the end of here. And again, like what full array of powers does she get now because she can do that? It's kind of out of the bag that Irene is within her, so I wonder what the rest of the team is gonna make of Irene being within her. Also, in other words, is Irene now back within Wendy now that Haku is dead, or is she still like in that plushie? So I imagine next chapter we'll probably finish Laxus's fight and then go back to either probably Urza and Gray, Gajiel and Carla, or Happy, Natsu, and Lucy. But yeah, I imagine that next chapter we'll finish his fight and probably start a couple more fights. Otherwise, for the last chapter and last video of 2021, what you guys think of the chapter? Leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you for watching. And this has been Drago, signing out.